Hello everyone and welcome back to my official The GH24 News YouTube channel. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Messy romantic life has left us asking, does Willow need a brand new swain? Should Willow get a fresh launch after her ineluctable Drew Quartermaine bifurcation? Willow has deep passions for Drew, but we all know their relationship will fall piecemeal ultimately. The cracks are starting to form since Drew is so eager to move forward with Willow while she's holding back. Despite Drew's desire to move Willow and the kiddies into his new house, she turned him down. Drew claims he can be patient, but Commodity tells us he may continue applying further pressure than Willow would like. Plus, Drew still hasn't told Willow about his hot alliances with Nina Reeves, so that's important to keep in mind. The show's setting Willow up for a crushing blow when she realizes Drew isn't the amazing man she allowed he was. Sleazy Drew is hiding Commodity huge from Willow, so she's going to be furious and devastated once the verity comes out. That said, Willow hurt Michael Corinthos with her affair, and she's not wrong about the problems that agonized their marriage. Deception was a big issue in Michael and Willow's relationship too, so perhaps their reunion isn't the way to go. Indeed, if Michael returns following his recovery in Germany, that doesn't mean he's right for Willow presently. There's the implicit for Michael to get back together with Sasha Gilmore Corbin, which would still leave Willow single. A reunion with Harrison Chase might be an option for Willow, but some suckers are hoping Chase and Brooke Lynn Quartermaine can ride the Giovanni Gio Palmieri storms that are brewing. Isaiah Gannon isn't completely locked into a love just yet, but he's awfully smitten with Jordan Ashford and doesn't feel like he'd sizzle all that much with Willow anyway. The same thing applies with Cody Bell, who's easily gearing up for a love story with Molly Lansing Davis. There aren't a lot of other romantic possibilities for Willow on oil, so it might be time for GH to cast a brand new swain for her. Willow could use a reset after this whole Drew disaster since it's made her character look like a selfish train wreck. Rather than putting Willow back together with an old love interest and repeating some of the same miscalculations, maybe she could move forward with someone differently. It might be a good idea to pair Willow up with some hunk who moves to Port Charles and can offer a new morning. Our prognostications point to Willow and Drew's romantic destruction, so we'll pass along updates on who she might connect with coming. Willow's future could bring some instigative news, so stay tuned to see if she might meet someone special. Suckers have been staying patiently for Elizabeth and Lucky to reconnect romantically. When they eventually did, sorely, it was Guy Wilson, not Jonathan Jackson, who was smacking lips with Liz. Not only that, it was not Lucky who was there when Cyrus was taken down. Well, make that the other way around, given that Cyrus stuck him with Digitalis. But we knew Lucky wouldn't be a goner, with Jonathan Jackson slated to return to the part, which he did by Friday. Of course, all he'd to do that day was lay around and let Portia and Isaiah save his life. Cyrus sang like an informant to Liz about the murders, which, not so surprisingly, amounted to him believing God had appointed him to release souls trapped between this and the coming world and shoot them to heaven. Sam and Dex sorely got in the way of his charge. We got a brief citation of Austin's murder, but really, it was only to grease Anna and company learning Cyrus was hiding out at a cabin the late Croker possessed. The show could have at least explained Austin set about what Cyrus was planning to do, so that's why the madcap killed him. Indeed, Laura said on Friday that Cyrus sounded to start killing the moment he got out of captivity. Unfortunately, with Cyrus dead, it feels like Austin's murder will ever go unsolved. It was good to see the Savoy again, and Chase surprising Brooke Lynn with a singing performance was delightful. Still, I could have gone without seeing Willow and Drew this week. Drew had some whim-whams, allowing he'd be 8 at the Savoy. Good on Curtis for remonstrating him out. Thankfully, Willow also rejected Drew's offer to move in with him. Yeah, that would have really helped her formerly tarnished character around city. Chase's alternate romantic surprise for Valentine's Day went off the rails when Brooke Lynn eventually told him about her teenage gestation. Their talk was touching, and Chase's support of his woman was gladdening. Now, he's offered to help her find her baby if she chooses to. Of course, he might not be so open-inclined about everything when he finds out Dante is the daddy, which is a big piece of word Brooklyn left out. As important as I miss Charles Measure as Jack, I'm not disliking Chris McKenna's take on the part. His mini-date with Carly was delightful, as was his commerce with the fully lovable Donna. Seriously, why don't we see her more frequently? Joss did good in taking out Cyrus, who was hugely intimidating standing in that doorway with that dismissal. One commenter on Thursday's recap likened him to looking like Jason from Friday the 13th. Jeff Kober likely scored himself another Daytime Emmy for his performances this week. Still, Jack coming to Joss' deliverance and also explaining the reason he'd been feeding her intel was laughable. He told her she was special and would make an exceptional WSB agent. Indeed, though, I theorized that was his motive in feeding her information weeks ago. It was further of a joking conjecture. Joss could indeed follow orders from Anna to stay out of this disquisition, and she'd no way have put two and two together regarding Cyrus if not for Jack. How does that restate to her being a great WSB agent in the timber? Yeah, Jack, let's trust transnational secrets with the youthful woman who can't keep her mouth shut. Speaking of Joss keeping her mouth shut, that's precisely what Jack told her to do regarding Cyrus' death and his help. She can't indeed make as much of a glance about it to her mama. So what will Joss do when Jason, who everyone heard hang to make Cyrus vanish, gets criticized for what Joss did? Oh, that's where this is headed. A final study, the show passed on the occasion to make a riddle out of who killed Cyrus. Still, that loss is another plot's gain. Who plugged down Congressman Quartermain, anyone? Jack asks what happened in the cabin, and she tells him about the substantiation she set up. Also Cyrus came at her with a hatchet, and she shot in tone defense. He asks if Cyrus didn't attack her, would she have pulled the detector? Joss doesn't know. Jack tells her it's good that she didn't call the police also. He says he'll cover her, indeed, if she doesn't accept his offer, but she'd make one hell of an agent. Still, she'll need a story for tonight. He gives her the keys to her auto, which he'd brought there, and gives her plutocrat to buy a new phone. He instructs her to tell everyone she lost hers. Before she leaves, Jack says, "We'll be in touch." Colette returns, and can't believe Joss gets to leave then just like that. Jack says, yes, and when she comes back, it's better she thinks it's her idea. Back at the cabin, Anna, Dante, and other officers arrive. With their ordnance drawn, they protest in the door and enter. Everything inside is clean, and there's no sign that anyone was ever there. Anna asks a Bobby to call in forensics. She says if Cyrus was then, she'll find commodity to prove it. Nothing is ever quite the way that it seems on General Hospital. Case in point, Carly and Jack's erotogenic commerce. We imagined that it came about relatively naturally, nothing further than in case of two hot people getting hot for each other. But no, there's further to it than meets the eye, or any other part of the deconstruction, for that matter. Brennan's presence in Port Charles and his propinquity to Carly is no accident, Elizabeth Cortez and Chris Van Etten tell Soap Opera Digest. His passions for Carly are accidental, though, and those passions will come into direct conflict with his intentions for Jocelyn. And what, exactly, might those intentions be? Joss is clearly in the hot seat, what with having killed Cyrus and all. But he'd it coming, anyone would agree, wouldn't they? The Joe came at her with a freaking dismissal after boggling her swain. Still, this was it. If ever there was a case to be made for maintainable homicide, yet the scribes advise that the Spencer women will find themselves plunged into a world completely alien to them, Brennan's world. Their involvement with Jack won't just impact them, moreover. A number of Port Charles residers will be pulled into this developing story as commitment, Gemütlichkeit and families will be called into question, present loves tested, new loves crop and numerous lives hovered Jason's among them. Stone cold? Really? He wasn't indeed there when Jocelyn introduced Cyrus to his maker. This might be the one plot that doesn't depend on him riding to the deliverance. Yet Cortez and Van Etten contend that the quintet server of Joss killing Cyrus and Jack advancing a hand puts our idol's freedom on the line.